What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I am here to do my Under the Scope 2020 draft class video. But before I get to that, because I'm in the middle of watching the playoffs right now, the Patriots-Bills game is on right now. Bills are currently up 14-0. I think the Bills are going to win that game. I just don't think I think the Patriots are a good enough team to make it to the wild card. I predicted them to make it in as a wild card, but I'm not sure they have the experience and stuff yet to be able to actually win in the playoffs, but they're getting that experience this year, so we'll see how they do next year. Anyway, having said that though, I also want to quickly mention, I'm not going to do like a whole separate video. I do want to mention it real quick, and it actually is kind of like coincidental or like good timing ish kind of thing, because I'm doing my 2020 video with Tua as the leading guy in that draft class, right? And the thing that I wanted to quickly mention is about Tua, and there were reports today that the Dolphins are, bought in on Tua, and he's going to be their quarterback next year, and, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope that's true. I would love for him to stay in Miami. I would love for him to be our franchise guy, and I would love to see them properly build around him. And apparently they're looking for a head coach that, knows him, that can do that. And Brian Daboll, obviously he knows him, having spent some time with him in the past. And so, we'll see how all that plays out. Daboll is one of the guys that I hear is a leading candidate. So, and he's one of the guys that I would be, pretty all right with, to see if they can, turn this around. Again, Jim Harbaugh is the only one I'd be really excited about, but Harbaugh is at the top of my list if it comes to first-time guys as a head coach. So we'll see how all that plays out. I just wanted to mention that quickly before we go ahead and jump into the meat and potatoes of this video. So let's go ahead and do that now. Let me jump over here. So we're going to take a look at the 2020 draft class, take a look at Tua. I think now I don't have, I told you guys recently I had some computer issues, some hard drive issues, and I don't have my template anymore with the draft grades and stuff, but that's fine. I'll just tell you what my draft grades are and whatnot. So, and then I'll just, go through or whatever. So, taking a look, obviously he's only been in the league 2 years. Just real quick, so you guys know, I'm not going to jump too far into this, but you guys know how I stand. I've been a fan of Tua. I originally was concerned with drafting Tua. Well, first and foremost, as you guys know, my drafting philosophy is way different. I would never take a quarterback in round 1 or 2, but I would take one every year and 3 or later, depending on how bad I need one. That way you can always have fresh competition. You have young guys at that position constantly coming in. You can let the cream rise to the top, which will then give you your starter, your backup. You'll have quality guys. You'll always have competition, and every year the cream will rise to the top. So whoever earns it gets it. That'll give you quarterback prospects to use as trade chips for other teams that need them. You always have guys developing, and then that way you can use your first and second round picks where the top talent is, primarily in the trenches, if it was me, offensive and defensive lines, and then sprinkle in maybe, some skill players, here and there as you need them, and as your team develops, and so on and so forth. So there's that. But if I was going to take a quarterback in that draft, I would have taken Justin Herbert. You can go back and watch my draft videos from back then. But the reason why I said isn't because I don't believe in Tua, but it's because I'm worried a little bit about his injury history as far as the longevity of his career, and I didn't feel confident that this coaching staff and this Dolphins organization was going to build properly around him, primarily giving him an offensive line. So I was concerned about that off the rip, but it's not Tua. And frankly, for his entire time here, my thing with Tua is it's not the player or the person, but it's the potion. That's my little, saying or whatever that I've used. And it's because the mixture around him, I feel, has been, disastrous. And it has, and I do believe firmly that the Dolphins, with Brian Flores leading the way, have set him up for failure up to this point. And I think that, for me, his grade is absolutely an A, because not only has he actually performed pretty well overall, but he's and he's done a lot of wonderful things, but he's shown, some elite traits with his anticipation, his accuracy, and his pocket presence, his footwork, right? He helped to elevate the offense and mask the offensive line deficiencies, right? So, and all of the things that he's had to overcome to even get to the level that he is, the injuries, the fucking, pulling in and out of the lineup, by the coaching staff, the inserting him last year, the 2019 or the 2020 season, when he wasn't ready and shouldn't have been in there and should have redshirted, not having faith, being and support from your coach, right, et cetera, being given a shit offensive line, no run game, and unreliable wide receivers. The Deshaun Watson stuff constantly hovering over him, right? So all the things that he had to overcome was spectacular, so he gets an A for me. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this. He's got 2 comeback wins, 4 game-winning drives. He's obviously got the 2 years in Miami. He's got 23 games, 21 started. I think this is his win-loss record, 13-8. Anyway, he's got 449 completions, 66.2%, 4,467 yards, 27 touchdowns with 15 interceptions, with a quarterback rating of 88.8. I think that's quarterback rating and QBR are different, but it doesn't give you the average, which is about a 47, like a 47-ish QBR. So he's, look, he's had decent numbers, especially for, he's technically a little over a year now. He's like a year. I don't even think it's, because I think he's at 22, 23 games. So it's not even a full year, and it's not even like a year and a half, but getting close to a year and a half. Dude, through that time, and especially, again, everything that he's had to endure and overcome, I think he's been fucking phenomenal. So, I love him. And then obviously he's got some rushing statistics. Where is it? Let's see. Rushing, he's got the 237 total yards on 78 attempts with 6 touchdowns, right? So I love him. I hope that the news that was put out today is correct, although there were conflicting reports. I forgot to say this earlier in that little bit. There were conflicting reports, though, that they are still in on Deshaun Watson. And if I'm being honest, I can't believe that they're completely out on Deshaun Watson, for the simple reason and why they were in on him to begin with is because, if we're being honest, he is the superior athlete to Tua, and right now the more finished product, and he is a top 5 quarterback at least, right? So, if not a top 3, and so, with the way that Stephen Ross some of the reports said that Greer wants Tua and Ross is fine with that. I don't disagree with that. I'm sure he would be fine with it as long as they can make it work, right? And whatever. But he always wanted it, to find his Dan Marino. So we'll see how that plays out. But I hope it is true that they are going to keep him and build around him. I'm not even going to go to Austin Jackson or Noah's, breakdowns, because they haven't done anything. I mean, Igby hasn't even really been on the field, so there's no point in looking at his fucking statistics. So far to this point, he's been a complete failure to me. Austin Jackson, he's been on the field, but he's been garbage, so failure there. Robert Hunt, grade-wise, I'm not even going to bring his up either because, for one, I don't have the Pro Football Focus rankings, and offensive linemen are hard to look at on just Pro Football Reference's, stats here, because they don't really have stats for offensive linemen on here anyway. So, but other than that, he's the only, that's really the big reason. But with Robert Hunt, I give him an A. because I do think he is like the only offensive lineman that's like for sure salvageable, and certainly could end up being like a really good, if not like a Pro Bowl all pro kind of player at the guard position. And he's also pretty good at the tackle position. So I do like that. So you get, for me, it's an A for Tua, an F for Austin, an F for Igby. But then you get, and I would have taken Jonathan Taylor or Xavier McKinney's who I wanted in place of Noah. Austin Jackson I thought was a reach to begin with, etc., etc. So didn't like that. Robert Hunt, good pick. I still probably would have picked someone different, only because I would have, picked every pick differently, and so it just would have fallen differently. But I do like the pick. Raekwon Davis, good pick too. That's an A. Brandon Jones for the 3rd round. He does have, I'm going to give him a B just because he does have some limitations still, and he still needs to work on it, but I think he gets a solid B. Kinley in the 4th round. But let's take a quick look at, though, Raekwon Davis and Brandon Jones, just so we can have that in here. So, so 68 total tackles, 31 solo, 37 assists, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits. I mean, nothing really flashy here, but he's obviously, this year was an example. Like, our run game drastically improved, and even last year too, once he started to settle in, our run game improved with him in there. I think he's great on that defensive line. He does need to get better at his pass rushing and getting pressure up the middle, but I do like him, and I think he deserves an A for, where he was taken and the production he's given us and stuff like that so far. And defensive line, of course, especially tackles, because he's a tackle, they're not exactly the sexiest when it comes to stats, but he's been, phenomenal in the run game and stuff like that. So Brandon Jones, 31 games, 17 started. He's got 1 interception, 2 passes defense, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. Let's see, he's got 6 sacks, 141 total tackles, 89 solo, 52 assists, 9 tackles for loss, 11 quarterback hits. So a B minimum. You can definitely argue for an A being taken in the 3rd round, giving us that kind of production and stuff like that. We'll see how his development goes. Right now, I'll settle on a B. Solomon Kinley, I'll give him a D, because I think he hasn't really given us much of anything since he's been here, but he has shown some flashes and stuff, and I think this coaching staff had a big part to play in that, if I'm being honest. He just, I don't know, but he never really got on the field, although he has shown some potential and some flashes. I think he could be a really good left guard for us if they give him a chance and really kind of, help support this kid and coach him up properly and stuff like that. So I'll give him a D. I won't give him a straight F. I feel like I'm being a little generous here right now by giving him a D, because I do have a little bit of hope for him still that maybe he can, but we'll see. Overall, I still do think he's kind of been a miss. Let's see. Strawbridge, Weaver, and Perry, they're all Fs for the Dolphins because they haven't done shit for us. And they haven't really done anything since then. We'll take a quick look at them. But, Strawbridge, 2020 with Miami. Let's see. I don't even know if he's in the league. 2021, he was on our practice squad, but then we got rid of him, and he's no longer on the team. I think he did go somewhere else, at least briefly, but it doesn't even look from like this. He might not even be in the league, but I think he's on someone's practice squad or something like that. So Curtis Weaver, he did end up going somewhere else, and I think that, let's see, 2021. Oh yeah, Cleveland. That's where he went. And obviously the Browns have had have been starting to do things in the past couple years. Not much here for him though, right? Really no stats at all. Like, he played in 1 game. But for the Dolphins, we have it. Yeah, and it appears to be with the Browns as of now. We didn't get shit for him. They haven't done anything yet in the NFL, so they get Fs. Blake Ferguson, I guess I'll give him a B because it is a 6th round pick and he's been our long snapper. But I'm not really a huge fan of taking specialists even in the later rounds, because most of the time, unless they're special, unless you feel like they're going to be special, I don't know that Blake Ferguson is special, right? Like, but anyway, so, you know, but I'll give him a B, because he's a late round pick and stuff like that, and he's been our long snapper, and he's been, you know, solid and stuff, so I don't really have an issue with him, but most of the time I feel like you can get them as undrafted guys. So I don't know, that was a little bit of a quick run through. You know, honestly, for most of these guys, they're not really a lot to even look at. And if we're being honest, because it is still, you know, a very recent draft, so they're very much, even though I give like some of these guys like Igby and Austin Jackson, whatever, Fs, and like some of those other guys like Strawbridge and Weaver, I do think that they still are on other teams. Weaver's currently on the Browns. I'm not sure where Strawbridge is, but, and I know Malcolm Perry ended up with the Patriots, but then they cut him. I don't know if he's made it back on a team yet, but they're still incompletes at the end of the day because they're only in their second year, so their grades could obviously change over time, but that is what I think, and that is how I see them as of now. So that is my Under the Scope, the 2020 draft class. And with that, I am going to get ready to go back to watching this game. But before I do want to mention, though, that tomorrow, and I should have mentioned this earlier, I am planning to do a live stream for the evening games. It's Arizona versus the Rams for the NFC, and then it's KC and Pittsburgh for the AFC. So I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow night during those games. So make sure you join me for that, and it should be a good time. And with that, I'm going to wrap this up. But before I do, make sure you check out the Rave On Sports App, the new fan-driven sports app for all your sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, college, whatever you like, they got it. And they're looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play coverage, live chats with other fans and content creators like myself, as well as giving you an arena to dispute and moan about all of the terrible officiating that we've seen for such a long time. So look for the links to that in the description box. And with that, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro, as well as on Instagram at Dolphins_with_Dillon. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.
7 seconds left. Tannehill will throw it. And this will end it after the shuttle. Miami runs around. Circling. Almost down. Gronkowski did not let it go. Touchdown. Miraculous in Miami. Stills to Parker to Drake. And they held off the field. Unimaginable what has taken place here in South Florida. The Dolphins have done it. They keep their season alive. 69 yards. Wow. Pure joy. Miami wins it.